This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
All right, everybody, and welcome to episode 7. Episode 7 of The Outcast with Buzz and
7.
Juice. Got my man Juice to my left here tonight. We got a bases-loaded show for you all today. Like that?
Love it. Always love it.
Okay, good.
You know that.
Yeah, that's good. So we've got a bases-loaded show for you all today. That's the new thing that we're going to say now because it's badass and whatnot. We're going to hit some Bulls talk, some NBA playoffs talk, maybe touch on baseball a little bit, but what we're mostly excited about is today, I know you all can't see it because you're focused on our pretty faces, but today, to our right on my giant 60-inch TV, we will have the NFL draft running live here. We will be reacting to the Bears pick, and we will be mentioning who gets picked during our talks on here and whatnot. As we're talking about other things, we'll announce who, the first pick was, or the second pick was, or the third pick was, or the fourth pick, you know what I'm saying? But when it gets down to the Bears pick, that is what we're going to focus on. That's what we're going to break down. And if you guys want to see us break down other picks, let me know. You get me live here? Snapchat?
This is some Snapchat. We're going to maybe, maybe one day we'll have a Snapchat. But no, this is a little reach out into what we're doing here. Sending this to you.
I'm down to let anybody who wants to follow me on Snapchat at BRadGeezy. So
yeah, I don't even know my name on that.
And under my phone it's just Kyle.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it linked up through contacts or something. But I'm at BRadGeezy on Snapchat if you all want to follow it up. But make sure you go on to Twitter and follow us on Twitter at MVP Buzzweed, at MVP Juiceman. To my left here, my boy Juice. Be sure to go to mostvaluablepodcast.com to get yourself a cool T-shirt and go to the About Us section. Learn everybody who's on the channel and whatnot like that. Be sure to go to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast to donate and earn yourself some cool prizes and stuff like that. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscription on our video that you're watching right now. Show us some support. It'd be great. If you're listening on iTunes, you can go give us a 5-star rating and throw a comment down below on why you chose to listen to us or any of the other shows that are in the Most Valuable Podcast family. Here comes Goodell, man. Here we go.
Yeah, with Troy Aikman here. Was with the draft and them coming out, I was kind of interested to see who would come out with it being in Dallas. Obviously, there's a lot of names because it's a pretty storied franchise. Interested to see it's Troy Aikman. I know that's probably the right move because obviously, Super Bowl winning quarterback, he made Dallas famous, and we're going to put a little volume on for us.
We got a little volume. The mics are good enough for you
to say that the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. So, yeah, Ricky did this in the mock draft. He was the Cleveland Browns, and he took
I believe
Saquon
he took
Barkley.
Saquon Barkley with the first pick. I'm very interested to see who goes with the first pick, but it's going to be a fun draft today, man. It's going to be a fun draft.
It's one of the most interesting ones I've seen in a long time here, and as we get into the flow of what's going on, we are going to talk some Bulls and some Cubs and White Sox, but we're going to try to keep those to a minimum because obviously the draft is the main story today. So, we're excited to see where the cards lie for the Bears at least, and you'll get our live reaction on the pick. At that point, it might be a little quiet for the podcast because obviously we're going to try to listen to the pick in the real time, and we'll get our real-time reaction after we read a couple stats on the guy that they picked.
Once we see Goodell come walking up for the Bears is when it's going to get quiet. And like I said, guys, this is going to be kind of a weird video,
It's going to be a lot different
It's going to be different
than
because we're not going to be really focusing on – we're going to talk what we got to talk here and obviously really be paying attention to what we're doing. Obviously want to make, own our craft here, but just want to let you guys know we will be kind of throwing draft talk, NFL draft talk that is, into – basketball or baseball.
Yeah, which will be kind of funny.
It's going to hop around a little bit. If it's cool, I want to shout out a couple guys real quick that have been super cool. Matt over at Sports Mockery said that he would come on the show and talk with us eventually.
Yeah, that's the breaking news too. If you want to break, we actually have the capability to have visitors on now. So
right,
we're going to be previewing, and make sure this is when you guys, your listeners, should try to follow us on Twitter because we're going to do a lot of previews of what you're going to see. I don't know who the first guest will be. We will see. We were going to have Mark from the Onside Kicks on tonight, but he's got something. He's got something going on.
So also you guys are going to be hearing hopefully some dudes from Sports Mockery. You'll be hearing Bull Scripted, Three Guys Sports. I've been talking to Sox Nerd on Twitter, who actually works for the Chicago White Sox organization. We got some stuff in the making here, so we can have some experts on the show or whatever, and just another take that we can that we can just dive into and dissect. So it's going to be pretty cool. But jumping in, something that was really been asked of us going into the Chicago Bulls here. They wanted a lot of fans wanted us to break down who we're going to use with the Pelicans pick.
Yeah.
So the Pelicans pick fell to 22. And I wrote down a couple people on here that I would be interested taking. Now, this is if and only if this is the scenario we're going to play out here, because obviously you can go a million different directions. But this is if and only if that we land a Michael Porter Jr. and or a Mikal Bridges. So we get our three with our pick.
Yeah, and we'll dive more into this later pick as the podcast goes on, because we have a little time before the draft. But we're going to do a little teaser here. A lot of these guys you put on this list, big men.
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna break down a little bit of a guy you have on here, and Mitchell Robinson, your Jonte Porter, Robert Williams, and Brandon McCoy. I think those are the four that we're gonna kind of focus on just for this podcast. But obviously, as the draft changes, our opinion on who we're gonna take could change too.
Well, I actually had a few people get at me on YouTube, and did you see that stuff about Daniel Gafford? He chose to go back to college,
right?
So he's not coming out. So I mean, that's why I didn't write his name down. He's not coming out. It's not work,
Right.
Yeah, he'll come out next year, and I'm sure that it might be somebody that we're talking about at this time next year. But the first one I want to get into real quick is Jonte Porter. Now, obviously, this would be very interesting for the Chicago Bulls. You can get potentially two brothers in the draft here. Jonte isn't as athletic as I'd like him to be, but he is a big body. He's 6'11", and he's 240 pounds. That's a good center body. Mm-hmm. What I do like about Jonte is that he can step out and hit the three. He's hitting the three at a 36% clip. That is not bad for a big man. What I don't like about Jonte is 43% otherwise. He's not a guy that's in the paint.
Right. He's not going to make his live. But then again, the game has kind of changed so much that maybe that's a decent pick.
Right. He might be a good pickup for that.
And in the Fred offense too, spreading it out, getting these guys to the hole, it could help the flow of the offense. I do like the Jonte Porter pick at that part of the draft, but I don't think he's my favorite out of this group.
Right.
But that being said, if you were to get a Michael Porter Jr. and pair him with his brother,
that would be love.
That's awesome.
We all know that would be love. That would be something that'd
be a great story. I think that I think Chicago media would go nuts with that.
Oh, absolutely, and that'd probably be a dream for them two kids also. But Jonte at Mizzou last year, especially during the SEC tourney, even though they lost. And they lost in the actual NCAA tourney too. Jonte Porter was a staple in those. He had a couple big games, and he kept himself composed and pretty much as the star player, while his brother was getting all the attention. Jonte was the one flourishing, play-wise, not media-wise,
really
but play-wise.
Helped his draft stock.
Right, because he was actually slated in the beginning of this year, if he did decide to declare, as a second-round pick.
Kind of like a tweener there.
Right, but he was projected as a second-round pick. Now you're talking up there. He can go anywhere from 17 to 24.
Yeah, I like the kid. If he can step away and shoot, pull bigs away from
the paint.
I'm a fan of that pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if that's my favorite out of this group, though.
No,
that's the $1 million
That's the
question.
fun thing. Is like my favorite out of this group is somebody that we don't know anything about. Which is kind of funny. He might not be my favorite because I do like Jonte, but the next guy we're going to get into here is somebody who did not play in college. He was supposed to go to Western Kentucky. That's where he committed, but he had an on-again, off-again relationship with him, ended up sitting out the entire season. So he went and played for the Nike, whatever you call it, and he averaged like 19 points a game with 11 boards, and the crazy thing, he averaged 4.1 blocks per game. And that's Mitchell Robinson. Obviously, I don't know much about this kid, but numbers are numbers, and I'm not a huge number guy, but you can't say that you're not intrigued by a 7-footer. He's 223 pounds, so he's lean.
Right, yeah.
He might be able to run the floor well. Is he polished? That's stuff that we don't know yet, but I'm very intrigued just based off pure potential.
Right.
I don't know if I would necessarily bite the bullet and have enough balls to actually take him if I was the GM.
Yeah, it's tough too. I guess a lot of that depends on your 6th pick overall too. Because if you draft a Porter, and that's a risk. As much as we like him, it's a risk. Right. Do you really want to take 2 risks in a draft that has been slated to be one of the better ones of in a recent memory. I like this kid. I like his makeup for the NBA. I like his body type. I love the weight that he's put with the 7-foot frame. I think that he could really be a nice addition at 20. I think this is probably the sexy pick out of the
right.
The
that's
one
what
down
I was kind
here.
of thinking too. It's that kind of one that it's like where it's unknown. Like you
Right.
know, do you go off the potential? But like you said, with having Porter, that's kind of a shot in the dark. And if you shoot yourself twice with 2 first-round draft picks, you might as well pack your bags and be leaving.
You're out. And especially with how much is riding on this Bulls draft, I like this pick, and I'm going to be happy if they make this pick with Mitchell Robinson. But I'm going to tell you right now, if Paxson misses with the 6 and misses with this, man, it's going to be tough to live in Chicago for him. It's going to be tough to have that on his resume.
Something that I just wanted to bring up before we get into the final 2 guys on the list here was, did you see that video today posted by our boy at Bulls Scripted?
I did not.
He posted a video from, I think it's called The Jump on ESPN, about Mohamed Bamba stepping out, hitting 3-pointers, and he's actually working on a shot, changed up his jump shot.
Yeah.
Does that change your opinion on taking Porter over Mohamed Bamba?
Well, no, not over Porter. I do think that this helps his draft stock.
Well, you know I've been a Porter homer since the beginning of the season. This is something that is really intriguing me.
This is the other thing, too. Does this talk, and obviously as these comes out, they're obviously going to have the workouts, in the combine. So if this makes Bamba jump into that echelon before the top 5 there.
Yeah, you're saying that 1 to 7 range or whatever? Where does he fall?
Does this make Porter the 6th pick there?
It might.
This is the thing, too. You got to think, if the top 4 we've kind of said are pretty set in stone. We think that the top 4 are decently kind of concrete.
Right, well, definitely the top 3 for sure,
right.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 is...
It can always change, but it's not likely.
Right, but this is the thing, too. If the Magic have the pick before, and we've talked on here, this moves him up into the top 5. That's great for the Bulls. You gotta tip your cap and say, hey, thank you, because I think that Porter's going to be a perennial all-star,
right.
top 10 talent. Hey, thank you for working on your jump shot. And trust me, if you like Bamba, I do too. If Porter gets taken before then, this only helps hey, let's take this.
If
guy.
Porter gets taken before then, I am hoping that Bamba is the pick because I do see perennial all-star potential in him. The other guy on the list besides Mitchell Robinson, who's like we said before is just kind of an unknown, is Robert Williams out of Texas A&M. So Robert Williams he's 6'10", so he's kind of undersized. 6'9", 6'10", you know how they measure these guys.
Yeah,
but he's 6'10", 240 pounds. He's an athletic freak. Guys gets up and down the court. He's quick for being a big guy. He's a rebound and hustler. He gets a lot of putback baskets for a 63% field goal percentage. My biggest concern with him is that you're in college, my friend, and you're shooting 43% from the free throw line. Need to work on that, but that's something that he can be developed into. People can become better free throw shooters. Awesome thing about Robert Williams, even though being undersized, 2.6 blocks per game. So it shows that he can be a guy to be at that rim to cause havoc on offensive players. He could be there to help Lowry out, take some of the pressure off. So
yeah, I don't know too much about this kid. I haven't researched enough to look into Pelicans pick because honestly, going into the draft when they didn't have the 6th pick, I really thought that they were going to be much lower than that because the tank was coming in, and I haven't really looked into. But Mitchell Robinson and obviously Jonte and the guy we're going to talk about in a second, I know. But yeah, like I said, it's a guy down here at this pick. You're looking to contribute, being in the top 20 here. I really, really hope that this pick is the Bulls seem to do well in the lower part of the draft. So I have 100% faith that they're going to put everything into the scouting to make sure that it's set and good. You know what I mean? That's the. But yeah, so But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just so shook about the
Baker Mayfield thing
here, man. This is just nuts. Like,
yeah, I would like to really see the Robert Williams playing alongside Lowry. I think it could be really cool. I think that Lowry, being a guy that stretches out the floor, that can actually really give Robert Williams enough time to work in the paint, to develop his post games and stuff like that, and he won't be in a crowded paint. He could be there to beast and feast on defense too. There's a million possibilities there, and with 4 players on out of our starting lineup being able to stretch the floor, it's really cool to have an offensive rebounder, who could be in the paint. And even Robert Williams can step out and hit like a 12 to 14 footer. I don't know how consistent it could possibly be, but it's something that he can do. So the next person is Brandon McCoy out of UNLV.
And this is the guy I like.
Yeah, he averaged 16.9 points per game, 10.3 boards, 1.8 blocks on 54% shooting from the field with 72% from the free throw line. He's 7 foot tall. He's got an NBA-ready body. I think he could be really good. He did good things for UNLV this year, being, pretty much a leader at the 5 position for them. So it shows that there's a few good centers late in the draft here that the Bulls can get. And it's something that I'm very excited about with this Pelicans pick. It's always nice to have 2 picks in the first round. But a good thing about Brandon McCoy is that he can step out, he can hit 14 to 16 footer, and he's got some post moves, and that's something that's very exciting. That again, pairing next to Lowry. That's all I think about is pairing next to Lowry. But he's not my number 1 pick. He's like my number 3 pick out of here. But I'd be very happy with a Jonte Porter. I'd be happy with any 4 of them because I do think that they can come in and contribute.
Contribute for a Bulls squad. On this, you think some of these guys are second units, or you think any of these guys could be perennial starters?
I do think that that Robert Williams would be probably a guy that can come in for the first year and do what you got to do with him. But I see him being more of a bench, like that spark off the bench, that high energy motor kind of guy. I do see that, with Mitchell Robinson, he's a big question mark. Jonte, in Fred's system, I could see him being a starter just because how he stretches the floor is a big. Yeah,
it'd be fun to see him, as in Robert Williams, play with his high intensity side with Bobby Portis.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a nice. I think that could be a nice plug and play when obviously your dog days of January before the All-Star break and even before February there, when you get in these games and it's like, oh man, it's tough to get up for a game. You come for a back-to-back, and there's going to be moments in the season where you're going to have to throw, some energy guys out there.
Right,
and,
absolutely.
I think that could be a nice 2 to put together.
But for some reason, I think that Brandon McCoy might be one of the best fits, even though he probably will be the last one picked off this list. I think that he would be a really good fit. I do think he's NBA ready. I think he can come in and get you in his rookie year probably 9 to 10 points a game with at least 6-7 boards a game and be able to hold his own in there as he's learning on the fly. So that's my opinions with the Bulls Pelicans pick.
Yeah, like I said, doing this during the draft, I think we're going to probably revisit a lot of these conversations.
Well, we're going to be revisiting this in general because, it's not even May 15th with the ball drop yet with the ping pong balls. And, we're going to be doing Bulls mock drafts, or Bulls mock picks, we're going to revisit it, but at least getting the people knowing who at least is on our radar now, even though we've jumped back and forth from football to basketball. Hey, man, it's what it's like in a bar. So, it's pretty cool. Touching on real quick, NBA playoffs. I just want to bring up a couple things. The LeBron game winner last night.
Yeah, off the, just talking about it, we were actually talking on the phone with the guys from the MVP, Ricky Mark, Onside Kick podcast, talking about some MVP stuff in the making. So kind of watching that as it happened, and the conversation was in mid-flow, and obviously he hit that right when we were talking, and it was pretty much silent until, oh, really, did he just hit that?
I was very upset.
I still think that Indiana going back home puts up a decent fight in Game 6, maybe pushes it to a Game 7, because I think I had this booked for Game 7 from the beginning.
I don't know if you saw,
after Game 1.
I tweeted out last night before the game started that I had a feeling that LeBron was going to come to play and take the show over.
Which he did.
And he did.
It was an unbelievable performance. But
it's like, I don't know why, man. It looks like that Swan song. You know what I'm saying?
It's so funny to me because he had a great performance last night. And he still needed to hit a shot at the buzzer to beat a team with Oladipo and
he's
Miles
got
Turner.
no one around him.
Yeah,
it's. I mean, Kevin Love's being shut down, and it's weird.
Did you know that
George Hill's hurt?
He's 7 for 21 in the paint in this series. Kevin Love is.
That's pathetic.
That's terrible.
That's pathetic.
He's obviously not. He's your stretch 4. He's gonna play
Kevin
most
Love
of the game.
used to have a paint game.
Yeah, Kevin Love was dumping into the post. He'd still get you 25 and get you.
When he was in Minnesota, that was the guy he was.
I love LeBron James as a player. I think that he's one of the best I've ever seen. But LeBron James does this to people because, and I don't want to say he's a bad teammate, but in ways he is so polarizing in that locker room. And he has such an aura about him and such a... I just think that like the added pressure for that team seeps into the role players. And it's not LeBron's fault. It's a lot of... These guys are... And LeBron is under such a microscope that it's amplified. And every talk that you see on ESPN and on the radio is the guy doesn't have any help. Well, if I'm an NBA player, like... I'm taking a lot of hit for that.
Well, you need to also realize
these guys aren't bad.
You need to also realize real quick, a lot of the reason LeBron doesn't have any help is because of LeBron
himself.
Getting people like Tristan Thompson crazy money. There's a salary cap in the NBA. Getting Eamon Shumpert paid.
Right.
You know, like that's a lot of LeBron's fault, man.
I mean, honestly, and like we just said, I love LeBron.
I do not.
I love LeBron as a player. I think he's one of the best we've ever seen. You can't deny that.
He's not better than Kirk Heinrich, but he's up
Usually
there.
we end the podcast at that point. No, but I just think that it's hard to be a teammate of LeBron James underneath that microscope.
I'll give you that. We got the pick for the Jets is in, and Sam
Darnold.
Darnold.
With Sam Darnold.
Oh.
See, that's the for them.
I thought Rosen was going to go to the Jets because they wanted an NFL-ready quarterback. But wow, okay.
So underneath this, that means unless somebody trades up to 4. Rosen probably falls a decent amount here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And in matters of the Bears, having that pick at 8, I wonder if he ends up falling that far. If 4 doesn't make a trade and 5 doesn't make a trade, and Indy doesn't trade out, 7, I don't think the Bucks are. I think the Bucks are taking a player. So the Bears might be in a spot to maybe fleece a team that really likes Rosen. But I don't know if that's gonna.
I don't know if they pull the trigger on that.
No, they might take a player at 8 just because they feel they got a guy that's. But if you're a Bears fan, this draft is going well so far.
Right.
Through the first 3 picks here, 2 quarterbacks and a running back, not a position in need for either of those guys.
Exactly.
So this is going right.
Another thing I want to bring up while we're still on NBA is the play of Anthony Davis and basically the guard play between Rajon Rondo and Drew Holiday, shutting down Dame and C.J. McCollum. Those guys shut them down and basically did their jobs defensively. Drew actually had Rondo played well. All of them played well, but the core 4 for them in this playoffs right now for the Pelicans has been Rondo, Holiday, Niko Mirotic, and Anthony Davis. Nico's played, Nico's been there. He's not been there. He's been there. He's not. But Nico is hot and cold. But I just wanted to bring that up real quick. I'm very, very surprised that the Blazers didn't put up a little bit more of a fight, especially with Nurkic and having CJ and Dame.
Yeah.
But CJ and Dame were just completely shut down, and it showed you that neither of them are elite. Neither of them are worth max contracts after that. Because as good as Drew Holiday is, Dame Lillard is talked about as the upper echelon of point guards in the NBA. Not anymore.
It's kind of.
I don't care what anybody says. Fight me.
This is if you're a Blazers fan, you got to feel like this is like what we got going here now.
Yeah,
it's been too long without making the advances in the playoffs that a lot of people thought that they could. When Damian Lillard came into the league and lit it up, man.
He was rookie of the year.
And
he was
McCollum
rookie of the year
way.
the same year. Him and Anthony Davis were drafted in the same year. Him and Dame.
Yeah, it's.
But Anthony Davis, battled them injuries his rookie year.
It shows that you need. I mean, Anthony Davis is a freak. It's ridiculous.
Do you think that Anthony Davis and the Pelicans give the Warriors some rough time here?
I don't know about that.
Well, the only reason I ask is because if Drew Holiday and Rajon Rondo can keep playing that defensive basketball and they're allowed to play,
but I don't think
they're allowed to play like they were able to play in.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Though.
Right. Well, they have no one to guard KD, but the Warriors have no one to guard AD either.
Yeah, I think
exit
out, and I'll take I'll take Clay and the crew over who the Pelicans are working with.
I will take the Warriors.
I just don't think they're going to be able to score enough. And the Warriors are going to score no matter how good a defense you play.
I think the Warriors are going to win the series. I just think it's going to be a little bit more interesting than people are going to think. I say 6 games.
6 games? Yeah, see,
6 games.
I still got the Warriors in 5.
Right. I'm taking the Warriors in 6 in that series. And then one more thing I wanted to bring up about NBA playoff talk before we hop into some MLB here for a little bit is Russell Westbrook's performance last night. So, him and Paul George, pretty much heroic, putting the team on their back for OKC in an elimination game, coming back from the dead and taking down Utah. Do you think that happened because of playoff experience for both Paul George and Russell Westbrook, or do you think that happened because of the just being so young for Utah, not having the experience in there in the playoffs? Do you think it was more of Utah's demise or OKC's greatness?
Last night?
Last night.
It's back against the wall.
Because OKC was down 71-47 at one point.
It's back against the wall, and I'll put my faith in Russ anytime to at least get me in a game.
Right.
That's the OKC it's so hard to that team is just so me ball. I really do enjoy watching Utah though. They really
they're a fun team.
They work together. That's
the
fun thing to watch. And that
they
shows
didn't miss a beat after losing Hayward.
No, and that shows for basketball too. If you work together, you could win games against teams that are playing me ball.
Absolutely.
It's I'll take the team game, and that's why, like, relating it back to the Bulls, I think they're in a good spot with not knowing who's the alpha.
Right, because that proves to show unselfish basketball.
Right, because nobody's worried about getting there other than Zach as of right now. But
a little
even
nervous about Zach, but yeah.
I think Zach can learn how to do it. We've kind of had this conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, as we kind of go into it, I think that the Bulls as a team should be watching this playoffs and see playing together is the way that the Warriors win. Because they do. They're pretty unselfish as they move the ball. That's the way that the Bulls need to learn how to play basketball.
Right.
So that relating it to the NBA playoffs, we've showed Utah's been pretty dominant in the series. I know they lost last night and they kind of blew it
now. So,
but I think the team ball wins out in that series. I think Utah actually advances. Obviously, I know that's a hot take. They only got to win one or two.
Damn, Sal Palantonio looks the same, don't he?
Yeah, that guy just does not age.
He does not age. Oh, wow.
But, yeah, the playoffs have been really good.
Yeah, they've been fun to watch.
Last year was a lot of blowouts in the first round. It's been, how many? We're going to get 1, 2.
We still got 4 games.
Yeah, we
got one game tonight with Boston and Milwaukee, and then tomorrow is Cleveland, Indiana, OKC, and Utah.
4 games.
And there's one more tomorrow.
So at the end of it, we'll have 4 game 6s?
Yes, I do believe so, yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, tomorrow's Toronto and Washington still. Still. So one of the most boring playoff series ever, even though the games have been good. No one's talking. I don't think it's boring. No one's talking about it. Because there's just like no storyline there, I guess.
Yeah, I think no Kyrie, no Hayward has really kind of taken the...
Right.
Because Milwaukee is like the weirdest team I've ever seen. They have so much talent, and they just can't figure it out.
Pure athleticism, shooting. They have it all. I think it's because they don't have a real coach.
It's fair. They fired their
Jason Kidd.
But he was, oh man.
He's a garbage coach. Seriously, Jason Kidd's a garbage coach. But, that's our NBA talk. If you guys want to see us talk more NBA playoffs, let us know in the comment section down below or tweet at us. You know how to get a hold of us.
NBA/draft.